Hello and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. This morning we have Seagram's 7 Crown, introduced in 1934, versus Albertson's American whiskey, blended whiskey, introduced sometime since 1939. We don't know exactly, been around for from testimony from viewers, at least 4 decades, 5 decades. A private label brand of whiskey produced today. Now, back then, different, but today by the Sazerac Company for Albertsons, Safeway, Vons, Jewel-Osco stores. Okay. These are both 80 proof. And they're both aged at least 4 years. Yeah, I know I'm wearing this pullover. It's attached kind of, I got it tied kind of high because a cold front came through again. And this is like the winter that won't end, right? It's spring. Usually around this time in April, I'd be sitting with the window open with a t-shirt and short pants. But, and we've had it easy in Louisiana. I mean, it got down to 41 for this blast of April cold. Had a warm February, then a cold March, now a cold April. Climate change, it's here, right? It's here. I mean, when I was a little kid, 45 years ago, we have like cold winters, and then it'd be raining, and it'd be warming up in the spring, and really hot summers, and then hurricanes, and it would cool down in the fall, and it would get really cold in the winter. And now here we are, and look what's going on now. It'll be cold during the winter, and it'll be raining a lot, and then it'll be chilly in the spring, and then warm, and then chilly, and it transitions in the summer, and it gets really, really hot, and then we have some hurricanes, and then it get chilly in the fall again, and then cold in the winter. And I mean, we could see that. It's so clear. Because when I was a little kid, you see the winters would be really, really cold. And now, as an adult, the winters would be really, really cold. And when I was a kid, the summer would be really, really hot. And now, as an adult, the summer would be really, really hot. So it's a pretty bad crisis. And I think any reasonable person can see that's happening. Okay. 7 Crown, forgot to make my tag. 7 Crown, Albertsons. All right. Albertsons without the apostrophe. Because apostrophe shows ownership. But Albertsons is no longer owned by Albertsons. They're owned by a holding company. So I guess they dropped the apostrophe because they don't really own anything. They're just part of a thing. So let's get off of the climate. But I mean, I think if we just had a little bit, well, a lot more socialism and a lot less personal freedom, we could whip this thing, this monster of climate change, so that the earth is not destroyed. Not destroyed by the evil of mankind. Lindsay Ryan Coleman. Hello, Lindsay Ryan Coleman. Thanks for watching. It's been 32 here in New York. No spring. Yeah. See what I mean? Now, they were a little confused 20 years ago. Remember, they said global warming, global warming. But we kept having these incredibly cold winters, so we had to pivot, right? You got to be smart. You see, you have to be smart and clever, or we could say the word crafty. You have to be crafty, and you pivot, and then you say climate change. You can apply that to anything: hot, cold, medium, dry, wet, moderate. See, so it's you want to be very clever when you're scheming, because some people might wise up to what you're doing, and you don't want that to happen. So, but let's go on to Seagrams. Now, this is a different blend than this. Well, obviously. Well, this one's coming from Indiana, says on the bottle. This one's bottled in Kentucky at least, but I believe, well, I know that the grain neutral spirits are coming from Kentucky, Indiana, because they told me that when I was at Barton Distilling. They said, oh, yeah, we get ours from Midwest Grain Products, you know, the old Seagram's distillery. Huge place. I'd like to go on a tour. I don't know if they don't really give public tours, but maybe I'll say, you know, I'm Louisiana Beer Reviews. Oh, yes. And they'll hurry up and give me a private tour, maybe chauffeur me from the airport, you know. Probably that's not going to happen. Probably say, get out, get off the property now. But I would like to take a tour there. Okay, so 7 Crown is blended at a 75 to 25 ratio. 75% grain neutral spirits, meaning unaged corn distillate. Or to say it another way, moonshine it's stored in oak barrels, but not in charred oak, and it's not aged really. They just distill it. It's ready. They cut it with water, and then they start blending it. Okay, whatever they want to blend it with. They can make gin. They can make vodka. They can make blended whiskey, blended bourbon. This one's 80% grain neutral spirits and 20% straight whiskey. Oh yeah, Kentucky whiskey. This stuff's bland enough to make me think that it's very old Barton, which is also aged 4 years in Kentucky. Now this says bottled, doesn't say distilled. It said bottled by County Line Distillers of Louisville, Kentucky. And you will find so many products at your local liquor store that say that on the bottle. County Line Distillers. In other words, Sazerac. In Louisiana and a few other states, we can buy liquor at the grocery store. Okay? Winn-Dixie has their own line of liquor. Walmart, you know, some people say, I never could believe you buy liquor, beer, and wine at Walmart. Yeah, well, here it's the norm. It's always been the norm. And they have their own line of liquor too, Caliber, which I have a bottle of Caliber Canadian. I'll try that. Canadian blended whiskey. So the Seagrams, blended and bottled by the 7 Crown Distilling Company of Norwalk, Connecticut. Well, that's their headquarters, Norwalk. That's Diageo. That's their American importing agency, whatever. But it's from Indiana. Okay. Which you will find if you look on it's the website called thebar.com. That's a Diageo whiskey, gin, showing many of, but not all, but many of their brands. It has a brown bottle. Most of these have clear bottles. It's got the 7 Crown embossed on the back. It's got a kind of fancy label that's filigreed, and you can feel it, and it's shiny and glossy, and it has a matte background. Well, it's fancier. You know, the Seagram's 7 is sort of like trying to position themselves as the premier blended whiskey. Like, yeah, it's blended whiskey, but this is the better one, they're saying. And they'll say on their website, it's designed for making mixed drinks. It's not designed for contemplative sipping at the fireplace in a snifter. But that's what I'm doing, the taste challenge, because I'm tasting the base versus the base. 7 Crown. Albertsons. Well, we can see that the 7 Crown is darker. Seagram's is more gold. The Albertsons is more gold, and the Seagram's is more amber. You would assume, right, that the Seagram's being usually the lowest you're going to see it, and some people do get it cheaper, but the lowest you'll see it is $9.99, around here, $11.99. That's if you catch it on sale, $11.99. The Albertsons, $4.99 on sale. But it's one of those kind of items that's it's always on sale. You know what I mean? They'll have a sales tag, but it's probably never not on sale. Texas, you can only buy liquor in liquor stores, but not after 9 p.m. and definitely not on Sunday, says Cole since 92. I know. I went to Texas and I was disgusted because I wanted to buy some more whiskey, but it was a Sunday. and I was in Fort Stockton, and I drove all the way across Texas and couldn't buy Jack. You know what I mean? Slang for anything, or literally I couldn't buy Jack Daniels. I wanted to buy the Jack Daniels Green Label. I mean, it's unreal. These very restrictive states like Arkansas, you can't buy beer, wine, or liquor on a Sunday. People will ask me, what are your favorite liquor stores in Louisiana? And I say, what do you mean liquor stores? We don't really have liquor stores because there's no point to it. Why would anybody go to a liquor store when you could just go to Walmart and buy the beer, wine, and liquor way cheaper than any liquor store could ever sell it? You know what I mean? Albertsons has a liquor store, but it's part of their store. You know, it's a separate, what you call room, has a front entrance, but you can go into the store from the side. So they make it like separate, you know, it has its own checkout. But that's kind of like Walmart has their lawn and garden section, kind of a setup like that. Walmart has a little liquor island, so to speak, like it's walled off, and they have their own register, and you can go in without restriction and buy whatever you want off the shelf without assistance. You can check out there, or if the lady's somewhere else, you can just go check out at a register. And or sometimes you can check out other things at the liquor store checkout, like cereal or makeup, whatever, you know. So now we have some parishes, we don't have counties, we have parishes. We have some parishes where they're more restricted, but it's a local option here, you see. So St. Bernard Parish, they don't allow liquor sales in grocery stores. So the liquor stores there do very well. But they're not doing it for public safety. And no states really do that for public safety. They're doing it to protect monopolies. These liquors in St. Bernard Parish is notorious for collusion and government corruption. So, you know, those type of things. So the government and the liquor stores probably work hand in hand, and you take care of me by making sure there's no competition for Walmart. Because if they allowed liquor sales at Winn-Dixie and Walmart, I mean, these liquor stores would be out of business in a month. But maybe one day the worm will turn, right? And maybe Walmart's going to have more stroke than super discount store. I don't care. I don't live anywhere about St. Bernard Parish, so that's their problem. Over here, it's wide open, but there is no liquor sales or beer or wine here from 2 in the morning till 6 a.m. every day of the week. And that was because supposedly, well, it was true. They had most of your stabbings and fights and shootings here between those hours because, you know, they'd be out drinking and all. So they did that to cut down on that. Lindsay says, in New York, you can buy beer and wine in stores, but not liquor. Yep, I noticed that when I was in New York City. Liquor stores are open on Sundays, even the Genesee Brewery Factory Brew House. Oh, okay. Good. So they're sort of restrictive, but not as restrictive as Texas and Arkansas. And Louisiana tends to be very unrestrictive. Now, you know, you hear all these, they say, Louisiana's so conservative, you know, like the Bible Belt, and people have no freedom. But it's funny that the states that people say bad things about, like Louisiana, tend to have the most freedom, the least restrictive laws. But people are so easily fooled, you know, they believe the opposite of what's true. So, well, let's get off of that. But it's true, Louisiana, you know, we have very low cigarette prices relative to other states, cigar price. You could buy a pack of, a carton of cigars. They're not good. I bought one pack just to see, but for $12.99, and 18-year-olds can drink in Louisiana. Okay, for instance, can't buy liquor anymore, but they can drink. But that's another story. We'll get to, okay. But you go to these other free states with their liberal policies, and you have the personal freedom. I tell you how many times you can blink in a minute, you know. What kind of gait you have to use when you walk down the street. I think there's like a law about your gait. Be fined for using an impertinent walking pattern or something like that. Tell you what kind of counseling you can give people in a psychological counseling setting. They're going to dictate your counseling. How you like that? That's free, you see. We read a book back in high school about that. How it was like a fantasy book, you know, how the government was they used a term called newspeak. New way of speaking, where they would just say white is black, up is down, freedom is, yeah, that was part of it. Freedom is slavery, and slavery is freedom, and peace is war. And they had most of the people fooled because they believed sort of like the Wizard of Oz, sort of an allegory of that kind of thing, an allegory. To pay no mind to the man behind the curtain. Okay, now the aroma here is interesting. Sometimes while I'm talking, I'm thinking. While I'm talking, I'm doing dual action because I'm not noticing a particularly profound difference. Oh, and by the way, that's it for the blended whiskeys. So I have to go and get some more. I don't mean at the store. I mean out of the cabinet. So I think today at some point I'm going to do a review of this Canadian. We're going to go to Canada for a little while. I have Canadian leaf. I got to do some research on it. And I don't have a big bottle. I bought a small bottle at Specs in Texas, and I feel bad in a way because I could have bought the big bottle, the nice glass bottle, you know, and it wasn't much. But the little bottles were so cheap. I said, nah, I'll just play around with the Canadian leaf and the Club Royale, the Royale Club blended. We'll go do that next. And then we'll put those into play, the Canadian leaf. Well, I got a lot to do. Okay. This one here is corn. It's a little, it's sort of like, you know, like corn. Okay. You know how they have that Mexican roasted corn? You know what I'm talking about? If you go to Mexico, like Matamoros, they'll be roasting it like at a festival on those pits. It smells like that with a little char, you see? Oh, yeah. This one is the same, but there's more sweetness than char here. Okay. Now, my friend David, I wish I'd have recorded that. It was so funny. You know, he insisted on trying the Albertsons. And I tried to warn him. I said, I got to warn you, this is not, you're thinking of Buffalo Trace bourbon. This is not what you're thinking. And he just like, it's going crazy, you know, talking about how horrible it was. You know, I said, well, he said, this is corn whiskey. Well, actually, that's pretty much what it is. And he hated the corn whiskey from New England. So you see that it kind of made sense, you know, but he dumped it out. That did not make sense to me. I was like, you're dumping out my whiskey, man. Okay, so this one has more char and that one has more sweetness, kind of. So initially, without tasting, I think, and I don't know this, but I think that could be the Albertsons and that could be the Seagrams. But you see, the Albertsons have been tripping me up. If you watch the other reviews with the blended whiskeys, Albertsons, I keep denigrating it, talking about it, how it's so common and ho-hum, but then I keep getting confused and I can't tell it apart. So perception is a large part of reality. We see the label and we say, oh, ho, 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 you see. But if you do a blind taste test, you can't do that because you don't know. Now, you could put 5 different whiskeys, but then it becomes too convoluted and it's too difficult. I see people do that with beer. Like, I'm going to do a blind taste test with these 5 different beers, and then it becomes all confused, like, and I don't like those. It's too much, too many factors. I'd rather go 1-to-1, honestly. It's not a perfect thing, you understand? We know that. I understand. Yeah, I know it's not a perfect, but it's the best I can think of. All right. So initially, I think that's Seagrams, and I think this is Albertsons. All right. It's really sweet. It does have char. It's I'm not very confident. Now, I mean, come on now. If the Seagrams is $7 more per bottle, shouldn't it be a clear winner, like just no challenge? But that isn't always the case. Let's go with the taste. And look, I'm going to answer the comments. I didn't get to answer comments in the last almost 24 hours. I've been busy, so I don't want people to think I'm ignoring them. I don't ignore them. I have to go to the store in a few minutes. All right. Well, that one over there tastes like regular old whiskey, but it does have a good amount of body to it. I wouldn't say it's heavy body, but it's definitely robust, robust body. And you can taste the charred oak in the back, and the sweet, dry. You know, these blended whiskeys, you got to say one thing about them. They don't come across as just like corn like the bourbon. The bourbon is really starting to grate on me. I talked about that before. It's just like too much of corn grits. And people say, yeah, but it's a much richer flavor. I know, but I don't think I love that. And I was reading some commentary on the internet, and some people were saying, well, my wife prefers the blended because she finds the bourbon is too much to take and all. And I kind of agree with that. All right. Now, some people might get offended and say, I drank the best bourbon and you're stupid for not liking it. I don't think people are stupid for not liking things. I think people should drink whatever they want. That's just my opinion. I've had people tell me in comments they want to apologize at first. They'll say that, like, I just want to apologize, but honestly, I got to say that Schaefer is my favorite beer, and I've tried all kind of craft beers, and I don't know if that makes me bad. I said, it doesn't make you bad. Why would you have to apologize to people for what you drink? I mean, this is insanity. Oh my gosh, this is going to be tough because, you know, over here to the right, I'm thinking, it's just like straight alcohol, you know, with like that corn profile and like my friend David said, rubbing alcohol. Well, you know, I've never drank rubbing alcohol. If I had, I wouldn't be here. You kind of pick up on a lot of unaged character. Yeah, the straight whiskey's aged at least 4 years, maybe 6. But the grain neutral spirits just, you come across with that bulk flavor, that filler. Yeah, I really like bourbon, but I do like to change it up with scotch, says Cold. Yeah, me too. You know, oh yes. I don't want to get too caught up in scotch, because then it'd be like 12 straight years I do scotch and people say, what happened to bourbon and the other? I say, oh, I forgot. I got too caught up in it. You know what I mean? Oh, this one here has too much wood and too much char. I think it's got to be Seagram's, because I noticed that about Seagram's in the past, that it had more char than the average blended whiskey, I thought. Well, you see, it had more bourbon character. Now, one thing I want to say to you is that if you look at the old advertisements from the 1930s, they had Seagram's 7 Crown, and they had another product called Seagram's 5 Crown. And 5 Crown was blended at a 75-25 ratio, and it was like 80 proof. And the 7 Crown was 86 proof, and it was blended at a like a 60, it might have been 65-35 or even 60-40, but it was like something like that ratio. So you had a good deal more straight whiskey in it, like say bourbon whiskey. So, or at least bourbon style whiskey. But I think what they did was they went the cheaper route and they dropped the 7 Crown and they rebranded the 5 Crown as 7 Crown. You know what I mean? Like they figured nobody would notice. They just took the 5 Crown recipe and used it for 7 Crown. And then, of course, you know, they made Crown Royal in 1939, and that's now owned by Diageo as well, because Diageo bought up all those choice brands from them. VO, Seagram's VO, 7 Crown, and the Crown Royal line, which was really the jewel they wanted. So they didn't buy the distillery, though. They let Midwest Grain Products have that, and it was another company before them that couldn't really afford to run it. So Diageo, to a large extent, I think, is more of a brand holder than so much of a producer. You know what I mean? Like, you can source the stuff. They got producers, just pay them and they'll say, do it like this. That's what Pabst does. They tell Miller, brew Pabst Blue Ribbon just like this with these ingredients. Well, they can do that. They can do anything. Anheuser-Busch, they can do anything. So a lot of these companies make big money just making stuff for other people. As long as they do it right, it's profitable. Okay, I'm going to call it. And I think that is the 7 Crown, and I think that is the Albertsons. Yeah, I already read that comment. Okay, so let's see. Which one's better, though? There's the question of the half hour. Okay. See where I'm going with that. Okay, now the one on the left, that's why I went, because it has more of that charcoal. It's more bourbon-esque than that one, but it's like light bourbon, you know what I mean? Yeah. So the one on the left seems to have a little more quality, you know what I mean? So I'm going to say it's Seagram's. Now, is it $7 a bottle better? I don't know about all that. You see, I got to get my friend David to do more of these. What do I mean more? He's never done a blind taste test, but to do these blind taste tests, because that can really set you straight, you see, because that label is dangerous. You look at that label and it starts making your mind think things. And sometimes what you're thinking isn't so good, because it's happened to me so many times. And anyway, okay, so here we go. Seagram 7 Crown. I hope I'm right, because if I'm wrong, I'll be so embarrassed, but it won't be anything new. I've been wrong the whole time with this Albertsons. Holy smokes, in a minute. I mean, this is unreal. It is really unreal. I mean, it is unreal. I said this morning when I was getting the glasses ready and everything, I said, this is not going to be a screw up. I'm going to know this one. This one I'm going to know. I couldn't tell it apart from, you know, all the car stairs and the, what was the other ones? The Heaven Hill, and I think the only one I really got right was the Beams 8-Star. Beams 8-Star is more bourbon than any of these, honestly. So, but I said, Seagram's, I mean, come on, that's a credible product. Every liquor store in the world has Seagram, or in America has Seagram 7 Crown. Get real. I mean, who has Albertsons? I mean, this is a joke. But, oh, wow. I'm freaked out, man. Like, really, give me a break, man. Wow, man. I mean, I wish I had words. I really don't have any words. I wasn't cheating, like, to try to stage something so I could make Albertsons look good. You know, like I have some secret connection to Albertsons grocery empire. I swear I don't. You saw me. I switched them up and I poured them, and it was the same level. And I thought this was clearly had to be Seagram's. It had more oak. I think my friend David needs to give it a second chance. But he gets very militant, you know, about these products. So I don't know. He may not go for it, you know. But anyway, this is a quizzical product. This Albertsons American whiskey, a blend, American blended whiskey. It is weird because it just keeps tripping me up. I mean, I cannot get over it. When you look at it straight on and you try it, you say, ah, phooey, you know, that's store brand garbage. You know, that's like Surefine canned corn or something. Or Always Save, you know, that other brand, Always Save. You know, one of those kind of things. Give me a break. Seagram's is a credible product. Come on, man. Why are you even doing the challenge? This is a joke. And I mean, I was even thinking that. Oh, but no. When I did the aroma, I thought, well, I mean, you know, that's Seagram's. This is, but I was wrong. Just goes to show you. Look, I finished it all. I gotta go to the store. Just goes to show you, you just don't know. I mean, or at least in my case, I don't know. You might taste it and get it right every time because you have a better palate and taste facility than me. That could be true, you see. But I'm saying it just goes to show you that private label store brand does not mean bad. Okay. And I can only drink for myself. I can't taste for you. I can't taste products for you. I'm saying here's me and I'm trying it and this is what I think. Could be totally off base. I agree with that. I don't think it is though, because like when I do beer reviews, I'll go read what people wrote and there'll be a lot of similarities. Not completely identical, but it'd be very similar like to what I said. And I like to read what they say after I wrote mine, so I'm not influenced. Well, I'm flabbergasted, shocked, stunned, surprised, and all of that. Well, hey. What's next? I'll tell you what's next. Because like I told you before, I schedule these drinking. It sounds crazy, but it ain't. I schedule my drinking, like literally make a schedule, a drinking schedule. And this is the truth. I'll think about it a week ahead. This is what I'm going to drink. I'm going to review these beers here. Okay. I'm going to drink that wine and I'm going to do that whiskey. And I'll be thinking about it. Like, here's the whiskeys I want to do. And I'm going to line them up. Even I'll be in church and I'll start daydreaming. I'll say, no, concentrate. You know, your mind races all the time anyway. You want to be in mass. You want to be thinking, praying, you know. But it's not intentional. My mind will be racing, you know, and I'll be thinking, oh, I got to bring in that Piper Dean Scotch. Another Albertson's brand, Piper Dean, you know. Oh, and then one more thing before I get off. Here's another example, Drum Castle, blended Irish whiskey, which everybody said, what the heck is that? I said the same thing. What the heck is this? Well, they had it on sale at, you know where, Albertsons. Albertsons is like my little adventure once a month. I mean, for real, it's like they have stuff that nobody else has, and it's incredible. So, and I said, oh, Drum Castle, what is this? So I bought it, had it on sale for St. Patrick's Day, and I went home and started doing research. Nothing. The company doesn't exist. So oh, I thought that bottle looked familiar. It's one of those Sazerac brands for Albertsons. Okay, I thought, I don't know what this is going to be like. But me and my daughter drank it, and we thought it was fabulous. You know, my daughter and I drank it. We thought, wow, this is great. And I mean, not like kind of okay. It was really, really good. So get ready because I got Canadian Leaf coming up. I'm going to try to post it tomorrow. I think I'm almost certainly going to post Canadian Leaf tomorrow. What do I know about Canadian Leaf? Nothing, except I do know it's from Sazerac. You know, that company that has like 1 million brands. Like 1 million brands. Not literally, but figuratively seems that meant like that. And then I've got a bunch of beer to review. And in about a week or two, I got another wine, which I bought. You won't believe the price. You will not believe the price. Now, is it any good? I don't know, but you'll be shocked by the price. My friend David saw that. He was like, oh, he bought it. I said, he don't even drink wine. He couldn't pass. He doesn't even like wine. He bought it. Didn't even like wine. He bought it. He wasn't passing that up. I don't know. Oh, no. All right. Thanks for watching this video production.